I'll leave, and you'll be done when you're done. When you're done, close this screen.
Meaning I fold it against the
fold
camera?
It back in. That shuts it off, and that's...
Okay.
That way I don't need to come right away.
Okay, perfect.
You want air conditioning here?
No, it's it'll be quick. I'll be alright. Thank you. Good. The Rambam begins Hilchos Tshuva by telling us about the mitzvah of vidui and giving us a text, a standard text to use when we recite vidui. And the Rambam says as follows: Keitan nisvada, how does one express his sins? Omer, Ana Hashem, Chatasi avisi pashati l'fanecha, v'asisi kach v'kach. Person begins and says, Ana Hashem, I sinned, Chatasi avisi pashati, I did chet, which the Gemara says is bishgaga, unwittingly or unknowingly. Avon, b'mezid, pesha, it was rebellious, and I did the following avera. So, where did the Ram get this text from? This text is the text of the vidui that the Kohen Gadol says on Yom Kippur. When the Kohen Gadol says vidui over the first his par, and then later the seir la'azazel, the Kohen Gadol says a vidui that has this lashon An Hashem, chatas avisi pashati, when he speaks for himself, or chatanu avinu pashanu, when he speaks for the Kohanim, or chatu avu pashu, when he speaks for all of Klal Yisrael. It's very interesting that the Rambam uses this text because while this text makes a lot of sense for the Kohen Gadol is saying a vidui that is retroactively looking back at a year's worth of chatayim. So amongst all the chatayim that the Kohen Gadol or the Kohanim as a whole or Klal Yisrael as a whole did, they included chatayim, avonos, and pshayim. Some of them were done b'shogeg, some were done b'mezid, and some perhaps were even done b'mered. But when any one person does vidui for a particular chet, let's say a person, was mechal Shabbos, chas v'shalom, b'shogeg, he thought a certain act was mutter and it was mistaken, and now he says vidui. So it's strange to use the Kohen Gadol's text as the formula for vidui because he should say An Hashem chatasi lefanecha v'asisi kach v'kach. I did a chet. It was unknowing. It was by accident. It was b'shogeg. Not avisi pashati. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it as an act of rebellion against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. But the Rambam, for some reason, understands that the Kohen Gadol's text of vidui is the paradigm of vidui, is the formula of vidui, and everybody says it, no matter what aver they are reciting vidui for. Whether it was a chet, an avon, or a pesha, we always say the text of the Kohen Gadol. There is a question as to what does it mean to say chatas avisi pashati if the avera at hand was either shogeg or mezid, but we're not going to deal with that. What I do want to address instead is what do we gain by using the Kohen Gadol's text? Given that the Kohen Gadol's text doesn't naturally fit, it would seem not to naturally fit every time we say vidui. So why did the Rambam see fit to use the Kohen Gadol's text of vidui as the formula of vidui, as the paradigm of how we say vidui? And perhaps the answer is the words Ana Hashem. The Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, when he says vidui on Yom Kippur, he's standing in the Chatzar of the Beis Hamikdash, he's standing lifnei Hashem, and he says Ana Hashem, he's speaking for himself, on behalf of the Kohanim, on behalf of all of Klal Yisrael, and he addresses Hashem, second person, directly, Hashem, I did this chet in front of you, and I am now expressing my remorse and my resolve to be different in front of you, and the whole process of vidui and tshuva is happening lifnei Hashem. And the Rambam wants us to understand that every time we say vidui, every time we do tshuva, and we say vidui, we are lifnei Hashem just like the Kohen Gadol. We see this very clearly in the Rambam when he defines the mitzvah of vidui, both in the Koteret of Hilchos Tshuva and in Halacha Aleph. The Rambam says, in the Koteret he says, the mitzvah aseh achas hi sheyashuv achotei mechato lifnei Hashem v'yisvadeh. The process of tshuva happens in front of Hashem. Obviously, our whole lives we are Shavis Hashem Negdi Samid. But most mitzvahs, we don't describe them, we don't define them by the fact that they lifnei Hashem. A person eats matzah, he eats matzah. If he has a lot of kavanah, he's aware that he is omer lifnei Hashem. A person puts on his tzitzis, a person puts on his tefillin. If he has a lot of kavanah, he's aware that his whole life is lifnei Hashem. But the mitzvah itself is not defined by its aspect of being lifnei Hashem. But when it comes to vidui, the Rambam defines the mitzvah by the fact that it's lifnei Hashem. And again in Halacha Aleph, the Rambam says, "K'sheyatz l'shuva v'yashu mecheto chayav lisvados lifnei hakel baruch hu." it's essential to the mitzvah of vidui that it be done lifnei Hashem. Perhaps for that reason, the Rambam saw fit to use the text of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur as the paradigm of vidui, even though the text may be ill-fitting for other reasons. But in the element of Ana Hashem, we can picture the Kohen Gadol standing in the Beis Hamikdash, standing lifnei Hashem, literally in terms of makom. So we understand that every time we say vidui, wherever we are, whether we're in shul, whether we're at home, wherever we are, and we open up and we directly address the Kadosh Baruch Hu, we are omed lifnei Hashem, and that is essential to tshuva, because every time we do tshuva, we must not only recognize sins that we've done and have resolve to change ourselves, but we must recognize that we are omed lifnei Hashem, that our lives are lives that are carried out in the presence of God, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu's ratzon dictates how we run those lives. And that is why we can say, Ana Hashem, chatas avisi pashati lefanecha, in front of you. Right? So we both say, the Aveira happened in front of you. And Ana Hashem, right now when I'm saying vidui, I'm now in front of you. The text, it's interesting, in Sfardi Sidurim, in Edot HaMizrach, so the standard text of vidui begins, Ana Hashem, Elokeinu v'kai v'seinu, Tavel l'fanach tfilaseinu, al tilsam mitchinaseinu, she'en anachnu azei yifanim, kshe'er v'mal l'fanach Hashem Elokeinu v'seinu, tzadikim anachnu l'chatanu, aval anachnu v'seinu l'chatanu, Hashem l'beganu v'gazanu. Right? So the formula of vidui, as we say, it's not exactly as Rambam has it in terms of chatas avisi b'shat l'fanach, chasisi kach l'kach, it's Hashem l'beganu, but it begins with Ana Hashem. However, in Ashkenazi Sidurim, for the most part, they do not include the words Ana Hashem. They do not include the words Ana Hashem. However, I saw in Rav Soloveitchik's Machzer, it says that the Rav was careful to add the word Ana. Ana tavel l'fanecha tfilaseinu. That in order to introduce vidui properly, one must say Ana. What is so important about Ana? One must express that he's now standing l'fnei Hashem. Ana tavel l'fanecha tfilaseinu. Before we say Hashem n'beganu, we begin with a statement that describes how we are standing in front of Hashem, and we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to accept our request. We are going to detail the averos that we did, and we're going to ask Him for forgiveness. We see how crucial it is on Yom Kippur. In Misa Hashem on Yom Kippur, Habal Linu Tova, we're going to see vidui many, many times. And each time when we say vidui, we see how crucial it is to understand that we are standing lifnei Hashem. That the essence of our tshuva is to recognize that our lives occur lifnei Hashem. Our chatoim, unfortunately, were carried out lifnei Hashem, which makes them all the more embarrassing. Like the Rambam says, boshti b'ma'asai, right? I'm embarrassed because I recognize that my averos happened lifnei Hashem. But on the other hand, we recognize that the opportunity to do tshuva is also lifnei Hashem. Kadosh Baruch Hu has given us a day of Yom Kippur for us to stand lefanav for the entire day, to say vidui many times, to rekindle our awareness of His presence in our lives. And then when we say the words Ana Hashem, Ana tavel l'fanecha tfilaseinu, we can instill in ourselves the realization that we stand in front of Him and ask Him to forgive us. Have a Gemara Chasima Tova.